And it still doesn't change the fact that Llips told me himself that he was being jumped on. I do know, I mean, like she said, Llips is a matter-of-fact person. He's very stern, and that's true. That is true about Llips. He was like, my way, the highway kind of stuff, baby, that's it. What you see is what you got from Llips. Domestic violence is real, y'all, and there is help there there is such a thing to me as unhealthy love. And unhealthy love oftentimes doesn't end good, as you see right here.
If you're new here, welcome. My name is Lindsay, and on this channel, we break down the stories behind the headlines with empathy and honesty. Today, I want to take you even deeper into this heartbreaking situation. We've uncovered a series of public posts made by Llips' husband on Facebook, dating all the way back to 2019. These posts paint a picture of someone battling serious mental health challenges, emotional struggles, and moments of crisis. We're going to read through them together, break down what's being said, and see if there are any warning signs or patterns that might help us understand the bigger picture. But please remember, while we're analyzing, we must please stay respectful. These are real people, and a family is grieving right now. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, and welcome back. It's Lindsay Unfiltered. We're going to be reading through some of Llips' husband Productions Facebook posts. These Facebook posts are from 2019, around the time they started YouTube. Around this time, he was posting pretty frequently, but 2021 and the subsequent years, he seemed to just stop posting on Facebook. Maybe he was more preoccupied with Llips and YouTube, so there wasn't many posts up to that, but we can see what his mindset was 6 years ago when he and Llips were very much still together. So I'm going to read through these. We can analyze these, and we can open up some of the comments underneath to kind of see where his mindset was and probably still was to this day. Okay. I've been reading through your comments. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for liking the video. Thank you so much for subscribing. I see you guys liked the video. It actually broke a record on my channel. So I do want to thank everyone for your continued support. And we're going to go through these right now. Okay, so in January of 2019, he says, "Dear God, let life work in my favor for once." Okay. He has pictures of him and Llips and their daughter on his collage. As you guys can see, there's Llips, there's their daughter. It looks like Llips is holding a cane. Someone asked in the comments if Llips was wheelchair bound. I didn't know anything about that, but I did see him walking with a cane several times on videos, okay? So more videos of him with children, okay? And then it says here, January of 2019, "Lord, let everything I hope I'm planning within your will stay steady. I'm ready. I promise you I'm ready. Just let me get there." And then he goes on to say, "There is no reason for one man to be so conceited." What man could he be talking about? I'm not sure. More pictures of the kids. It seems as if he enjoyed being around the kids, okay? And he says here, in March of 2019, "Why do we have to work for a living?" Literally 2 days later, he says, "Won't he do it, honey? Thank God on the job front." So he got a job around March 2019. Okay, we're going to skip. And then in April of 2019, he said, "You know what, Jesus, I'm done." So we do see a lot of references to God, Jesus, religion. And I do think both Production and Llips held God at a very, very high regard in their lives. We go on to April 2019. He says, "I don't know what it is. I never have good birthdays. 4 days and counting. I can't wait until it's over." Well, I feel like I can resonate with that because a lot of people just don't have a good birthday sometimes, you know. He goes on in April and says, "The devil has been pushing at me left and right, but I'm still putting on my good shirt tomorrow." Okay, pushing through adversity. Okay, and we continue. This is about Llips in particular, so pay attention. April 2019, he says, "I love this. That's why I married him. He can't help but make shit hard." Okay, so he's saying, "I love Llips, but he makes things hard in this marriage." Okay, we see it here. And then you have a fan here saying, rest in peace, Llips. Something just hit my lap that's probably too good to be true. But if it's good, I say for Lord, I will only drink on the weekend. So this is alluding to some type of drinking habit. I do believe that he had a drinking habit, that Llips and he both drank. I don't know who can attest to it. He goes on in May, dear God, I just want to say thank you for my loving hubby and family and for the chance for me to know you my way. Love you. Look, people grieve differently, but every holiday you have to be the biggest beep in the world. Is he talking about his husband? He could be, right? We cannot assume, but it's safe to say, he was with his husband a lot. He goes on and reposts something that says only way to not get hurt is to not give a F. He says he needs to clear his mind. And then somebody named LaCandice Hefner, which is probably a sibling, says, sounds like you need an adventure. Okay. At first, I thought that was some type of sneaky link, but it's not. Okay. That's a relative. Okay. Good. Junie says, I couldn't be more pissed off right now if I wanted to be. I understand. People have emotions, okay? I'm going to stop right here. People have emotions. People have negative emotions. But the thing that's unusual about this is that we don't go to Facebook as our personal diary with our personal, very sacred emotions. He was treating Facebook back in 2019 as his own personal diary. So to me, that shows some type of disconnect in the mental health realm. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, but I know mental health. Do I believe he was struggling with something mental health crisis for a long time? Yes. Does it excuse what happened? Absolutely not. Okay, but things like this show that there's some type of disconnect. You're writing personal things about yourself, your marriage on Facebook for everyone to see. Is it attention seeking? Sure, but there is a disconnect here, okay? And that's how I feel personally. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist. I know some people are like, who do you think you are to tell us what he is? This is just my opinion, guys. I've read a couple of books. I've done a couple of videos. I've investigated a couple of people. You know what I'm saying? So I've seen it before. Okay? And he said he just got chopped feeling 100. Okay? So that's his haircut. And another thing I want to say about production. Production, when I first started watching Llips, production always kept his haircut. It didn't even matter if it was COVID, because that's when I first started watching them. They kind of just fell off of my feed, and, I started watching other genres. I wasn't really a big mukbang person after a while. But he always kept his haircut. After a while, I'm finding out he had a stroke. I'm finding out all of these things after the fact. He never kept his haircut. He never kept up with his, grooming and things like that. So that can also show like mental decline. I'm not really sure. Okay. And he goes on in June to say, explain to me, why do you wash the car before you drive hundreds of miles away? Okay, Lord, I hope my boss don't think I don't care, but I don't do well with stuff. But I've been literally praying every day. Give the strength to actually pick up the phone. And someone says, you still at Wendy's? So he had a job at Wendy's around this time. He was working. Today I'm in better me mode. Lord, help me. Crying out for help. Okay? And then he comes on here and says, does anyone know what a mukbang is? In August of 2019. And someone down here is saying he never wanted to do mukbangs. That's not what that means necessarily. We can't really infer things, okay? He goes on here in September and says, I hope my new venture is the blessing I've been praying for. God guide me. God is in everything. And then he goes on to say, I understand how the devil can manipulate people, but I've never seen someone who's totally given in till now. Are you talking about your husband? Oh Lord God, please give me strength. I have a plan and hope that you're on my side. Crying out for help. But it seemed like the help he needed, yes, you can go to God in times of need, okay? But the help he needs, or needed at the time, maybe was a different type of help, right? When you let these issues fester and fester, and was he getting that? We don't know. I don't know his personal business. And you let these issues fester and fester and fester and fester for years. Because if Llips and production were going through these things 6 years ago, they're probably dealing with it this year. Okay. And he says, Lord God, I have so many ideas in my mind, please. My spirit's ready, but my mind just can't catch up. I'm done worrying about beep when my feelings are never in the pic. Do you, bruh? Taking the baby on a date. I'm guessing he's talking about Llips there. Okay. He's with their daughter here. Okay. And he goes on to say here, this one is important to me. Okay. On December of 2019, he says, I have so many dreams. Please don't let my frustrations hurt those that I love. Crying out for help in real time. Everybody can point the finger here and point the finger there, but he may have done a bad thing. We can all acknowledge it. But this constant, consistent posting back in 2019, what stopped it? I don't know. This is a cry for help, looks like to me, that never was received, right? He says, I hate this shit. Okay? More pictures of Llips' daughter. I'ma live it, but I seriously hate my life. I'm done. This is in 2020 here. A lie ain't shit for nobody to tell. He's talking about the beautiful meal he made. A scallop risotto with pan-fried skirt steak. He could cook. Like, what? Then we had to have a disagreement. As the days go by, I'm really thinking I need to follow my first mind. Primo says, shut up and inbox me. God, please let me have one good birthday. I miss my family. Dear God, just bless my family. Things were not supposed to be this way. And somebody says, where's Bruno? And nobody knows who this Bruno person is. Some people are saying Bruno was their roommate. My thing is, y'all, how can we infer that Bruno was still their roommate when Bruno was their roommate 5 months ago? Do we have any recent sightings of Bruno? Have we ever seen Bruno? You can't, put somebody into the mix that was never even into the mix to start off with. I hate being single. And then we open this thread and we look and we see who's commenting. I can't breathe. My daughter, my husband, my life is gone. This shit hurts. Okay. And again, God, it does not feel good to have an actual haircut appointment. Hey, dear God, shelter my home. Once a liar. Who is he calling a liar? Because he's mentioned lies several times. I have to find a way in my mind to respect myself enough to say, okay, I'm done. Welcome back to me. This is now in 2021. We've gone through 2020. We're in 2021 now. He posted in 2022, 3 years ago. Sadly, we don't always know the depths of someone's depression until it's too late. May I please have even one friend to copy and repost? I'm trying to demonstrate that someone is listening. Anyone. And that about wraps up the post from 2019 to 2022 on Production's Facebook page. Was depression there? Yes, I can see it. I'm not a mental health professional, but yeah. Were any other mental health disorders there? Probably. I'm not defending him or saying what he was doing was right, but you guys don't know what Llips and Production were dealing with behind closed doors, what conditions were being dealt with behind closed doors, if they were being treated or anything like that. It's all just very, very terrible. I'm still trying to understand, if you guys can help me understand this, how, because the last video of Llips's, he was supposed to go get his surgery. So did he not make it to the surgery? Did the argument happen after this live? If so, that live needs to be studied. Like I said, the phone needs to be studied. I really don't understand how this could have happened if Llips was to be getting surgery or recovering from surgery. Okay? And I also want to show you guys something that I think is important for us to take a look at. Llips, you can go to Llips's page. I'm not attached to this in any way. He has an official GoFundMe for his daughter. He's asking people to donate that way rather than making any purchases or cash apps, okay? So I'm thinking it'll be for his daughter. You know, he has a daughter, teenage daughter, all of a sudden has to cope with this news that not one, but two very important father figures in her life are no longer here, right? And at the beginning of this video, the woman who was Llips's friend said that she's very upset and angry. I understand that, because you got to put yourself in other people's shoes. How would you feel? And I understand that she's mad and angry. And I also understand where the sister's coming from as well, because not only was Llips her brother, production was like a brother to her too for 18 years. So she doesn't want to see production hurt in any way either. Even though Llips is gone, she still has love for production as well. The friend was more of Llips's friend. So I understand her being mad. If she was more of like a family friend or both of their friends, I understand that. But we're going to keep following the developments in this story. I'm sure it'll go to trial. Honestly, in my opinion, with those posts and with whatever conditions that production may have had, they could probably go for a diminished capacity in this case. They could probably, and depending on what happened leading up to it, they could go for a diminished capacity, manslaughter. I'm not a lawyer, but it's just sad all the way around. It's unbelievable, really, because you think when you see somebody around all the time, they're just not going anywhere. So I want to say rest in peace to Llips. I hope the video wasn't too long. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go to his GoFundMe if you want to support his daughter. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye now.